for this session. Today in this session, we are going to learn the 9th standard prose Mauritius written by R.K. Lakshman. Okay, what is Mauritius? Mauritius is an island. It is an island. Mauritius is an island and it is in Indian Ocean. Okay, Mauritius is an island which is in Indian Ocean. And it is located in east of Madagascar. Okay, it is located in east of Madagascar. Okay. Mauritius is an island. Which is in Indian Ocean and it is located in east of Madagascar. Okay. If you want more about Mauritius, our author will help you. That means this prose is about Mauritius is the place. Okay. This is the prose about Mauritius, the place. Okay. And before we could go into the lesson, let's learn about our author. Okay. He was born and brought up in Mysore. And R.K. Lakshman is an author who writes the book from the perspective of common people. Okay. His writing can be easily understandable. Okay. And his famous writing till today is called Malgudi Days. Okay. His famous writing, Malgudi Days. Malgudi Days. Now, let us learn the text. Let's learn line by line. I will read it and I will explain you. So, listen carefully. The world atlas I have with me has many little dots and specks, which have really nothing to do with the world of geography. It is an old one and time. The weather and generation of cockroaches have put them there. So, it was with some difficulty that I was able to locate Mauritius in the vastness of the Indian Ocean. It is a tiny speck of an island situated below the equator on the 20th parallel, some 4,500 kilometers southwest of Bombay. Yes, dear students, the world atlas which the author had was very old and contained many little dots and specks. These dots were either the products of cockroaches or the adverse effects of weather. They had nothing to do with geography, so Mauritius could not be easily located by the author in his atlas. The author's experience on his journey to Mauritius was exciting. He was curious to see the sight below flying aircraft. Our aircraft is bearing us towards it. Through the occasional gloss in the clouds, I glimpse the ocean spread like bluish grey steel sheet. There are acres and acres of cloud below me having all sorts of funny shapes in an odd abstract way. Curiously, they resemble figures in the ancient legends of China, Rome, Greece, India and what have you. Students, as our author was flying in the flight, he sees the ocean and he compares the ocean with steel sheet which is in bluish and grey color. He also sees the clouds which are in different shapes. Looking that, he assumes that they are like god and goddesses of China, Rome, Greece, India and water. And now let's learn the third point. I cannot help drawing a comparison, albeit ridiculous and rather far-fetched, between my vague observations at 10,000 meters watching the clouds, and what I learn of Mauritius later. This tiny island has an astonishingly similar variety, strain, juxtapositions, incongruities, or mixtures of race and languages. Yes. After going and knowing about Mauritius, our author shares that what he thought about Mauritius is totally different from what he sees. That means what is the real Mauritius is. This Mauritius is an island, has varieties. That means varieties of people speaking varieties of languages. The people, they are the people of tolerance and hospitality. So, 10,000 meters away, as he was flying in the flight, he thinks and whatever is drawing in the sense the thinking was different about Mauritius. But when he came to Mauritius, he sees there is the Mauritius is very precious. The people are, they used to tall, they have the characters are positiveness of tolerance and hospitality. Fourth point. Here, African and Chinese, Biharis and Dutch, Persians and Tamils, Arabs, French and English all rub shoulders merrily with one another and emerge with a peculiar sense of oneness. A Tamil, for instance, bears a deceptively South Indian face and a name to go with it to boot. Radha Krishna Govindan is indeed from Madras. I speak to him in Tamil. He surprises me by responding in a frightfully mangled English with a heavy French accent. Mr. Govinda has no knowledge of Tamil and his tongue has ceased curling to produce Tamil sound centuries ago. As he was in Mauritius, he sees the people of China, Bihar, Tamil Nadu, Indian, Arabs, French people and English. Okay. He saw a man who is called Radha Krishna Govindan. His name is Radha Krishna Govindan. He is from Tamil Nadu. He has the face also Indian face. So our author started to talk with him in Tamil. But a surprise, he didn't know Tamil. That means the Radha Krishna Govindan doesn't know Tamil. He was talking mangled, spoiled, that is not a better English, but he was talking in English with French accent. Okay. Govindan, name itself we can find out he is from India. Okay, Tamil Nadu. And he has face also like Tamilians. But still he doesn't know to talk in Tamil because he lived and ancestors came many centuries ago. Now let's learn the fifth point. Like others of his fellow men, his ancestors were brought to the island as slaves or later as indentured laborers to work in sugarcane fields and factories or to cut timber in the jungle and haul it to the boats. Their roots in their original homelands withered and disappeared with the passage of time. All of them together happily came to share in the triumphs and defeats of whoever happened to be their masters among the pioneering trinity of those days. The Dutch, the French, and the English, who constantly waged battle for the possessions of the island for its spices and sugar, are just for the strategic position on the maritime route to the east, conveniently placed as it was for piratical purposes. That means people from many countries they are living in Mauritius. Okay. Though they are different from their own language, from their native, but still they were living with a sense of oneness. There were unity. And many centuries ago, their ancestors brought to Mauritius as slaves to work in a sugarcane factory and to cut the wood and dump it into the boat. That was their work. For that, the ancestors were brought to Mauritius. Though they are from different countries, though they are from different languages, but still they were united. Sometimes they have to face like triumphs and they have to defeat the problems, and sometimes they have to follow the rules of their masters. Sometimes they have to stand to show their own identity. Okay, but still they were together. However, the Battle of 1810 ended all that in favor of the English. The French surrendered and handed over the island after extracting a favor from the conquerors that the French influence on the island be left intact. The English kept their word to the last day of their rule, which ended in 1968, and so we still have very musical but unpronounceable names like Trois, Bichos, Biobazin, Quaterbones, Curebag, Rosebelly, and so on. Yes, there was a fight between French people and English people. In 1810, English people defeated the French people. So, French people surrendered and gave the land to English people. And but still, their names and the culture was left in Mauritius. And in 1968, till 1968, English people were ruling Mauritius, and till then they kept the French language and French custom in Mauritius. And seventh point, the people are extremely relaxed and warm towards strangers in the streets, in the bazaar, in restaurants. It is common to be greeted and smiled at as if you were a long lost friend. Coming from Bombay, with my precast grim expression of a city dweller, I react awkwardly at first to such spontaneity and feel ashamed that I am not even able to produce a matching smile. Yes, the people of Mauritius was the people of hospitality. Okay, so they used to treat a new person also with a smile, as though they are friend like that. They used to talk with them, they used to treat them. So when our author went to Mauritius also, they were looking at him with smile, and they were also showing the hospitality. But our author was failed to give the same smile which they were giving. The same atmosphere of friendliness prevails even in Port Louis, the seat of government. The cabinet ministers and others in high positions do not act as if they were born to the grace. They are just like ordinary people one bumps into an airport lawn and in a hotel lobby. They are unassuming, accessible, communicative, and above all, go about without a protective shield of hangers on and security meant to repel casual approaches. I am shown a modest looking flat in a busy street, lined with shops and crawling traffic. To my mind, Joseph Conrad and Macomb, this little port town seems as if it were built at the suggestion of these writers to suit their novels and short stories. Merchant ships, travelers, dinkies stand anchored in the harbor with cobwebs of ropes and festoons of flags hanging from their masts. Creamy sailors and dockhands in seamen's caps launch on oil drums and packing cases or lean against bleak warehouse walls, smoking pipes. Sugarcane fields like a carpet of green cover the island on all sides as far as the eye can see up to the foot of the distant blue mountains that ring that island, a volcanic happening of geological ages. These mountains do not have the traditional monotonous paramedical shapes. Their outlines are freakier and whimsical with unexpected sweeps and perpendicular drops and pinpointed peaks, precariously doing a balancing act with the boulders as big as a skyscraper. Here, our author says about the leaders of Mauritius. The leaders of Mauritius behaved as normal, ordinary, common people. They didn't show that they are very big, they are rich, nothing. They behaved as common people. In there, the place Port Louis, like hotel, okay, it is place Port Louis, there he wanted to stay. His place was assigned in Port Louis. As our author was staying there, he was describing about the place around Port Louis and about Port Louis. Okay, how the Port Louis was looking and around how the places were looking. So this whole paragraph he was telling about the leaders of the Mauritius and also the about the Port Louis and surrounded place.